Whoops, wrong person. Oh man,
I've been replaced. How dare you?
You've been
son
replaced
of a
as a
bitch.
co-host already. You've been replaced. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yep, already brought on the guest right there. Already, it's just been that kind of night. You know, I had a little mishaps when it came to even my normal stream tonight, which was fun. But welcome everybody. Welcome to DC Fan-imated. We have a special episode tonight. We're not going to be talking about Superman in the animated series or Batman Beyond or anything like that. No. What are we going to be talking about, Scott?
We are having an interview with Ernie Altbacker, who has been a writer for animation since, at least according to his IMDb, 1997. So right in our wheelhouse, to be honest, of what we've been talking about on this stream for the last 4 years. So I am sure that based on all the posts we've been doing, y'all are familiar with Ernie's work. But if you're not, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about things and we're going to spoil the shit out of stuff that's been out for like 12, 15.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it, it's on you.
Sorry. You know, we spoil on this stream because we expect you to have already have watched this stuff. But
Exactly.
I will give a little backstory, and you know, when we bring Ernie on, he can talk about it. But this kind of got started because I liked a tweet that he shared about the anniversary of Justice League Dark Apokolips War. Okay. And then that's what kind of got the ball rolling. So I guess we can bring Ernie on and we can get started because there is so much ground to cover.
So much. Let's bring him on for technically a second time.
I know, right?
I thought I was promoted, bumped out Scott immediately.
You know what? After tonight,
partner.
Yeah, after tonight it might happen.
The film junkie.
Well, let's remember who knows the shit, Dave. Okay,
that's true. Yeah, the dynamic Ernie is mainly like Scott knows a lot of the history of stuff. I just kind of say whatever comes to my brain, and you'll see.
Color guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. But welcome, Ernie. Great to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight and taking some time out of your Wednesday to spend some time with us. It's great to speak with somebody who has written so many, animated movies that we all love and know about. And we have plenty of questions to ask about all of that, not just even the DC stuff, but I mean, you got a pretty good IMDb, that's for damn sure, when looking at it, for sure. You've had a good career.
Thank you. And it started in 95, so 30 years, baby.
Look at you, 30-year anniversary. Cheers.
Yeah, nice. I was working, my first job ever was on Spider-Man, the animated series of the 90s.
Yes, the final season from what I read.
Yes, the final season. I was on staff there, so even though I only got one credit, when you're on staff, you basically are the hands of the showrunner, which is the great John Semper, and he gives you assignments, and like, you got to punch this up. You have more jokes, or here's this little bit I want you to put in about the plot that's going to come down the road in 4 episodes. So kind of schmoosh it in there smoothly, don't get it, right? And so that was my first job, to look and see how other writers were handling material and kind of do what the showrunner, story editor, said needs to be changed.
I'm curious, when you started working for that season, did you know it was going to be the final season?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I did, because it was like an extra. Like I was there hoping to get on the last season, and I was just kind of, I don't know, office person or something, and they were going to try and find me something, but then all those scripts left, and then they were like, "Well, you got 12 more from on high." And John was just like, I can do stuff. Nobody's watching. And, that's when he kind of came up with the last couple of episodes. He came up with the concept of the Spider-Verse. And he'll immediately tell you, Oh, if it was season 1 or even 2 when everybody was watching, I could have never pitched it. I was like, Peter Porker, what the hell are you talking about? Like it never would have gotten by.
Yeah.
It was really great because I actually had, because the villain in those last 2 episodes is Spider Carnage, and I had those issues from like the mall bookstore off of the spinning rack. So it was really cool when he showed up as like the big bad in the 2-part season finale, because I was like, I know this guy. This is so cool. Because I did see that your credit, the one credit you did receive, was on the Doom episode when y'all did the Secret Wars adaptation for that season.
We got Secret Wars and then the Secrets of the Six.
Yes.
Which was another 5-parter or 4-parter. I don't know. But it was like really good. And he was hoping, he's like, someone's going to stitch these together and they're going to be like a little movie. And it was totally bootlegged at Comic-Con. And he's like, I knew it. Like he's buying it. He's like, I knew it.
That's what's funny about like going to those cons when like people will do stuff like that and bootleg stuff, and then those pass around, and then it's just, I mean, obviously this is pre-streaming, pre-everything. That's what we did back then. It's like you go to these cons and you find stuff that you might have heard about or something like that. But yeah, that was kind of cool. I still remember like when the first Batman '89 trailer, that was like one of the most bootlegged and passed around at all different cons. Everybody like had it, like, you heard about, the trailer, which had no score. It had crappy sound. It just was showing Batman doing Batman things, and everybody just loved it. And it got passed around so many conventions. It's crazy.
And I didn't get to San Diego until 92. Maybe this happened over there, or it might have happened in a little regional con where I grew up in Long Island. But I would always look for these movies because, it's kind of almost before HBO or right around it. We didn't have it.
Yeah.
But they weren't replaying stuff. Like it was still the time when I grew up, at the time of you could only see Shane on Easter Day. They would replay this great Western once a year. And it was on Easter for some reason.
Appointment viewing.
I remember one time I went away, and I think it was for like going to Easter dinner, and I'm watching this show on TV, and I'm like, this is amazing. And I had to leave, and then I didn't see it.
Oh.
And I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the ending of it, the last half hour. I'm like, what was that? It was a movie in the 70s. Finally, I was at the Comic-Con, and I go, it's this story of this guy. He's like a regular salesman, I think. He had big glasses, and suddenly this truck driver wants to kill him and is chasing him. And they were like, oh, that's Duel. That's early Steven Spielberg. And I'm like, what? Right? And so I bought this VHS copy and I ran home. I'm like, I gotta see the ending.
Holy crap, Duel. I forgot about that movie. Man,
yeah.
That's one to revisit right there.
I had seen it at a midnight show. Pretty loaded. So I didn't remember too much of it. Liquid Sky. And I'm like, you know what? I was too drunk. That couldn't be like what was happening. And then I found it and saw it again, and I go, oh no, it was exactly what.
Yeah, you were dialed in.
I must have passed out and didn't understand what was it. I must have missed bits and blacked out because this can't be that way. And the only thing I really remembered, I remembered everything, including the really cool like Liquid Sky font. Which was, you like didn't see anywhere. I'm like, that's it.
There it is. So
you know what, Dave? Ernie belongs here. We've just had our first tangent. This is,
of course, yeah.
This is no, don't apologize. We do this on a weekly basis. It's great.
We're talking about an episode of whatever Batman is doing on the during this time in our discussion. Then we just veer off into something, and it's just part of what we do. It's part of the
weird.
I'm curious, Ernie. So how did you get into, like, is writing for animation always kind of like a goal, or was it something that you stumbled into?
No.
What is your origin story, sir?
Yeah, we love the origin story.
Well, let's see. I got out of college, and first job was on not in Wall Street, but more in the Wolf of Wall Street land, a crappy company like that. That got shut down. I had to work at a place.
Why is that?
Yeah. The FBI came and shut it down.
Okay.
Sorry.
Those party crackers.
And it's luckily that was like the first 6 weeks of my job, so I didn't do anything, right? I didn't know what was going on. It was just like, go get work someplace else, kid. And my dad was a machinist, and he wanted me to be a machinist, and I was like, no machining, right? Mm-hmm. Now I found myself horribly with no options, had to do the machining, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to kill myself if I don't do something. So I loved movies. I got books about screenplays, and I kind of tried to get into film school for an advanced degree. You know, my mom was all about get your master's. And I'm like, I can get my master's in screenwriting. My dad's like, oh, but the mom had the final vote on that one. You know, it's like, he's going to need it. Right? I didn't, but so I came out here, and I got into film school, and one of my good friends, you might know him, Jim Krieg, he got on Spider-Man. He cracked Semper's show first, and he knew I was a big comic book guy, and no one else. I mean, picture this: we're in film school at that time, early 90s, and I was going, I'm here. I'm finally in LA. I got to go to Comic-Con. I'm driving down. Does anybody want to go to Comic-Con with me? Not one person. Not one person had any interest at all in going down to Comic-Con. The first 2 years I tried. Then I think I dragged someone down. I'm like, no, it's really cool. I met Jackie Chan, like, I think that convinced somebody, and then like they came, and then more and more people started coming. I'm not saying, did I cause the entire, the city of Los Angeles to go to Comic-Con? Probably. But among my friends, I was the early adopter of Comic-Con.
Nice.
And so no, I come out of film school, and I want to do live action stuff, of course. And I'm sending it out here, there, and I'm getting shot down. So my friend Jim's like, come in for this thing. And that was the first job I got, was to be on staff on the #1 animated show in the United States.
I was about to say, like, that being your first job, that's a lot of pressure because, Well,
I'd already been looking for work for 18 months. So I knew it wasn't easy, but I was spoiled that was my first job, because after that, it was just a series of one-off scripts and here and there. And like, I didn't get another staff job for a decade. I didn't know how good I had it.
Because I saw that you also have an Extreme Ghostbusters writing credit.
Yes.
And I'm a diehard Ghostbusters fan. Now, when it comes to Extreme Ghostbusters, it only lasted a season. It wasn't that they tried to do something, but
were we? I've totally forgotten. Were we the knockoff or the original? I think we were the knockoff.
I think it's the knockoff, because the original Ghostbusters was the early show, right? They always called them the real Ghostbusters, I should say. And then, the Extreme Ghostbusters was a kind of an interesting. I remember I didn't really get into it all that much, even being a Ghostbusters fan, but it was kind of cool because they were trying to be like, oh yeah, this is like the sequel of, there's still, we got Egon, we got Winston, at least we got some of the people with this younger crew. But it just was like, nobody was really feeling it. They were really trying for it. I remember
basically a prototype for Afterlife.
Yeah, what we ended up getting with the live action movies. Yeah,
the weird thing is, people are less likely to talk. They'll talk about Spider-Man first as a big show, right?
Yeah.
And like, oh my God, you were on that show. But the specific episode that if you told people, and I don't even know, like the part of the Secret Wars, the Doom episode, or the Jersey Devil from the Extreme Ghostbusters, the people that know the Extreme Ghostbusters are like, Jersey Devil episode.
The Jersey Devil, you were that guy.
I pitched that. They
No
did
shit.
not. This was before any movie. That was just like a local thing. I'm a Long Island guy, so I knew
Nice.
about the Jersey Devil. My first pitch, I think I wrote that with Jim Creek. Yes, I did. Our first like 2 pitches just go down in flames or something, and then it was like, there is this like regional monster called the Jersey Devil, and they were like, what? and we got that job, because of it.
That's cool.
Nice. I mean, basically, that's what Supernatural became, which was all the regional folklore and legends and stuff. That's cool.
I love it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I had to ask about that because I was like, oh wow, he actually had a Extreme Ghostbusters. But yeah, diving into what exactly that you came up with, that's really freaking cool. But yeah, I always wonder, like, I mean, I guess like Scott said, what Ghostbusters Afterlife, that's kind of what it turned into. They kind of took that idea of like, hey, remember what we had back in '97? Hey, let's try to do something with this now. And for the most part, it worked. I thought Afterlife was great, to be honest.
It's very big fan service. I enjoy it myself.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think the point is, and I'll talk about some of this in some of your later work. I never think, I mean, what's the problem with servicing the fans of what they want? I mean, it's we're the paying customers.
When you don't do it is when people get pissed off, or when you totally change it from what made it popular in the first place. It's kind of I get a little tired. It's like, does it really need to be remade? Some things do. Okay, something like when you have 16 Scooby-Doos, you're like, let's try something different. It's like, okay. But I don't think that the well is dry yet. We can have some more.
Not quite.
If you can make grumpy Bill Murray put on that proton pack, I'm in. Take my money.
Yeah. No, it's funny is that I was as I continue to kind of like walk down your IMDb, there is something that we have not discussed on this stream yet, but probably within the next couple of years or so, we're going to be talking about some more of your work, because you did show up for season 3 of Static Shock.
Wow, you do have props.
Oh, no, he does. He always does. Always.
Oh, this is only the beginning. I have.
Wow.
You will see what happens as the night goes on. But because Static Shock did eventually become part of the DC animated universe, and you wrote 2 episodes for season 3 that really helped kind of solidify that, because you wrote A League of Their Own Part 1, where he helps the Justice League with the Watchtower, Static helps Justice League with the Watchtower, and then you also did Toys in the Hood, which is where he teamed up with Superman to fight Toyman. Which we've talked about we've talked about at least a couple of Toyman episodes of Superman the Animated Series already. So now you're kind of in like the kids WB arena, and you kind of stay there for a lot for years to come. So how was this following Jim again, or how did you end up finding your way to Warner Brothers Animation and on Static Shock?
Well, yeah, that was a Jim. It was at least a Jim friend. The first, let's see, and I don't know if I got in. Dwayne McDuffie was running it. He's Jim's really good friend, and so I managed to get in there. We did one together for sure with Arjun. Oh, I'm sorry. I just went to Ben 10. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm going there too. Don't worry.
So that was going to get brought up as well. Yeah.
Static Shock. Yeah, that was John Semper again. That was after he did one season after Spider-Man. He might have done another project before or after that called Jaded Jet Plane, which is a preschool thing, which he also pulled me in for an episode or two. But yeah, the cool thing about the first episode, A League of Their Own, was that the second part was written by the great Dwayne McDuffie.
Yes.
So again, and the other one, Toys in the Hood, is odd because so I wrote the story and Oscar-winning John Ridley wrote the script for that.
Really?
Yeah, and he didn't want to. He was like, so John Semper was the story editor. It was a weird. They had co-story editors of John and Dwayne for that 1 year, and so half the episodes were this, half the episodes were that. I got a John one, and John goes, "Nobody wants to write the outline, Ernie. So you're just going to write this outline, and then John's going to take it over." And this is before Three Kings. No, it was after. I think it was after Three Kings. But I'm like, John Ridley's going to write the script off of the outline I give? Like, that's pretty cool. And then, like, the credits on there, like, I think John Semper's there too. But I was like, I wasn't in the room with him. Let's say,
Okay.
I take no credit for the episode, but we are on the screen at the same time.
You know what? You just drop that mic and you just I have receipts, and you walk away. I mean, there's no explanation needed.
Nothing
just
wrong with that at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But so I the reason Static Shock stood out to me as far as looking at your IMDb was that because you become so ingrained with DC animation really kind of pretty soon after that, as far as the fans are concerned, like your name starts popping up on things, and people, like, as I was like tweeting out, like maybe they don't know your name, but once they start mentioning the projects that you wrote, the love was just like gushing out. So Static Shock was interesting because for me, that's the beginning. That's the first thread of the DC universe popping into your career, at least from what I can tell. Is that an accurate description from your actual life?
I wouldn't even. I didn't even notice it until you said it. But for me, it's like those were isolated life rafts.
Okay.
And I was doing all this other stuff. You would do development that never saw the light of day to like cobble together a living. Those are the years that I say, I really enjoy what I do when I get to do it.
Okay.
Which was never enough for me. I wasn't the person that was running shows. I was getting one episode, and yes, prices were lower and housing was a lot more affordable at that point. So you could patchwork together living in LA and having fun and doing what you like. But I was writing spec scripts during this time also. I was writing low budget scripts, uncredited stuff. I would ghost for people too. So it was all over. And to me, it was just like another credit that I got. I didn't go, oh yeah, now I've cracked DC. Absolutely not. Didn't know.
Something to put on the resume, essentially.
Yes, it for a long time. It's been your IMDb better show stuff because you can hand in a resume, but they're gonna check it,
of course.
Right? And they might even call some showrunners that they know and go, "Was he actually on the show? Did you have to rewrite the crap out of this?" So that's what IMDb is really good for. It's like, oh, I know the guy who were on that show. Let me call, see what this person's about.
Okay. So you already kind of brought it up. And the reason I'm going to ask is because I have 3 children and my youngest 2 are 9 and 4. And this year they have decided that Ben 10 is like their newest obsession and they were binging everything. So when I saw that you worked on the Ultimate Alien variation of the series, I just for my son's sake, I had to ask about Ben 10 because they're going to ask me. That's just those are the rules.
Right. I don't know the 2. There's the one with Arjun I wrote both of those as co-writes with Jim Krieg, who has kept me afloat for a remarkably long period of time. I think
I noticed that thread as I was looking at
in the
things.
room that you can't see here. So okay, here's a funny behind the scenes thing. You guys will appreciate more than your kids. So the Arjun, he's that little weasel-ish character,
Yes.
right? That is like, he's friends, but then he'll absolutely throw you under the bus if it's, if he can, if there's like $1 in it for him, right? Just for the smallest amount, he'll throw you into the bus. So we kind of thought of that character as, oh my God, now I'm forgetting his name. The guy from the Rockford Files, Angel. The character of Angel from the Rockford Files, where it was like he brings Jim Rockford in to like get him out of heat with the mob or something, and then abandons him there, steals his car, and Jim Rockford has to jump into the car, and he goes, "Angel, you're really pushing it." So I remember that being a really fun one. It's always fun to co-write with Jim. We just like get in the room and like laugh and write. It's
spitball, just start writing.
We just like spitball, and it's like you take the teaser and act 1. I got 2 and 3, and then we'll switch and then stick them together. And we have a kind of our writing kind of fits together, so usually people can't tell who wrote what originally, and we each give the other side a pass. So
and I'm glad you went over that, because I've always been curious when you see co-writers on a script, especially frequent collaborators. I've always been curious, how does the co-writing process go? So you were saying, like, basically it's like you get this act, I get this act, and then you just make sure it all blends together in the end?
Well, it's whoever. So Jim was more advanced in his career, so whoever gets the job, the other person has to do the outline, and then you split the script acts, and then you each take one pass, but the person who got the job will take last pass, so he gets all the lines that, if there was a disagreement, he gets to change the last thing and hand it in. But then now you've handed it in, and that person gets to change it however they want, whoever the showrunner is. Now,
Gotcha.
when he was running Green Lantern the animated series, and I was the only staff writer, it was between us. It was between us. We pretty much got our way. There's Giancarlo Volpe was the head of the art, and then Bruce Timm. It's a Bruce Timm show.
Who's Bruce Timm? I've heard of that.
We've never talked about him before in the last 3 years. What?
So Bruce had final word, but if it was on like a little joke or whatever, he wouldn't care. So he'd let us fight it out. And sometimes when people were working, those guys were busy doing a record or something, Ernie got the line that he wanted in.
There you go.
And said, "Here you go, record final."
Okay. Now, since you bring that up, do you remember one in particular that you are particularly proud of that you were able to sneak in there?
Oh, no. It was nothing like that. There's nothing
stood out.
Aha! Although if you would have asked me that before, I could have probably thought up like a time, but not on that show. That show was just, it was a joy to do.
Well, it is like, this is probably one of your projects that gets some of the most love. I mean, I was watching this show, yes, as a late 20s married man. I was watching Saturday morning cartoons because, this was DC Nation block on Cartoon Network on Saturday mornings. You were paired up with...
They had that for 1 year. I remember being in the room when they announced it, and we were like, "Woo!"
Really?
And then
because you were there with Justice, and like that was an amazing that was an amazing programming block that I just loved. And, this show was just, it's a shame it only lasted for one season, but you got 26 episodes, which now is basically two seasons.
Yeah.
And the show feels that way. And I'm not sure if you guys, I'm curious, so I'm getting to a question eventually, but did you feel it was constructed that way? Because the first 13 episodes is the Red Lantern arc, and then the last 13 episodes is the Manhunter arc. And also it was aired over, like, it started in 2011, the last episode aired until 2013.
18
so
months.
it was stretched out for so long. Did it feel like you were working on 2 seasons anyway when it was all said and done?
I think everything got done within 1 year, but with broadcasting it, they broadcast the first one in a 2-part episode, and then they didn't start the show. It was like 11/11/11. I remember that because I get that date. And they did the first, and there was, people were like, "Oh my God, this might be one of the best animated superhero shows ever." And then they didn't start airing it until April or May.
So they waited.
Wow. I remember.
6 months.
It was painful.
And I was like, you just lost all of that heat. Why would you do it that way?
That would not fly nowadays for sure. It didn't fly then, but yeah.
And then they started again with 1 and 2 because it's been 4 months or 6 months or whatever it was. That was. I think it's one of. I don't know. I don't want to go. I don't want to go nuts here because.
Go nuts.
I would put that. I would put that up with, Batman the Animated Series. Even though
you were going to go there.
I knew you were going to go there, and you know what? I'll allow it.
It's okay. We are okay with that because it's really good.
Maybe just jealous that I couldn't get on Batman the Animated Series, which I think was like, I was on Spider-Man, and I was like, oh, they got all the critical acclaim, but Spider-Man beat them every single week. There was never a week that that they won in the ratings.
It was still that trifecta of that. 1992, you had Batman and X-Men in the same year, within a month of each other.
Yeah,
and then Spider-Man shows up 2 years later. I mean, those 3 shows are the DNA of my geekdom, because if you look at my comic book collection, I mean, if you want to know what my long boxes are full of, it's Batman, Spider-Man, and X-Men. It's because when I was 10 and 12 years old, these were the shows that were coming out. And what's great is that as I've been watching, unfortunately, Green Lantern's not on HBO Max right now for some stupid reason, but luckily I also bought it. But I also bought it on iTunes, so yay for me! And I have the Blu-ray.
I was going to say, you're just holding a physical copy.
I'm holding a physical copy. Like I have all the things.
Yeah.
But this series is doing for my kids like what those shows did for me, because like even Callum, my 4-year-old, he's sitting here watching the show. This holds a 4-year-old's attention. And he's talking to me. And even tonight, I was watching the Lar Fleas episode, which you wrote. And he was like, "There's orange lanterns?" I was like, "Yes, buddy. There's a lantern for every color of the rainbow."
Was so good. Oh, I snagged that episode. I'm like, I'm writing the Lar Fleas episode. No, so we did it very much purposely. I got to break that with Jim and Giancarlo. And we did it that we were going to do 13 and 13. And then Ryan Reynolds is, yeah. I mean, you know what? If that had done well, there would have been another 26.
That's the bad part.
Okay,
I was talk about that.
Let me tell you a little. So we were going to do, the first thing what we were going to do is the Red Lanterns. And wait. We did Red Lanterns and then Manhunter. We wanted to, on the second one, do the Yellow Lantern War, but they wouldn't let us because the movie was shooting and they were using. So they said, no, think of something different. Think of something different. And if you notice in one of the things in the little Munchkins, study, there is a Black Lantern book that was gonna be the second half of the second season. So we would have had the Yellow Lantern War, and then or if we couldn't do the Yellow Lantern, it would have been Black Lantern and then the Rainbow War, where you get like Barry Allen as Blue Lantern Flash.
Okay,
like that. So nice. we might have had to jump over that whole thing, but then in the middle of it and around episode 18, we do what's his name turning into the Yellow Lantern. What is his name?
Sinestro. Well, you do the prisoner.
We did the Sinestro episode because they said, you know what, you guys can do it now because it looks like there's not going to be a sequel for the Yellow Lantern War for the Green Lanterns.
That post-credit scene in Green Lantern.
Like, let's at least introduce him in number.
And you got Ron Perlman to be the voice of Sinestro. I mean,
boy, that was hilarious. I mean, I was at that record. I was talking to him. So things going full circle. So I was talking to him. And I'm like, I'm so bummed that you guys aren't doing this third part of Hellboy. And he's like, oh my God, and it would have been so epic. And now they just said they're doing it finally.
They want to, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think it's gonna happen. I'm seeing stuff that I'm seeing stuff on the internet, and I can't tell if people are just faking it and putting it out there. Like they go,
the bad part.
Like Firefly season 2 is coming 2026. I'm like, is this for real? I haven't heard jack about this.
Most of the stuff you have to just chalk it up as. I mean, I don't know how many times I've gotten from family members where they send me a fake trailer of they're bringing back Christian Bale to do Dark Knight Returns. Is this real? I'm like, nah, sorry, it's not. Oh,
so it's the AI stuff, right?
There's that stuff too, which is getting crazy.
So, my God, did I get sucked in? Is it not going to be the third thing? It was under Guillermo's.
Okay, so there has been conversations, and I know that they want to do it. So it's nothing fake, but it might be just something that, because obviously Guillermo is he's got his Frankenstein movie that's coming out.
It might be like the Justice League Dark movie live action.
Oh yeah. Which we're all waiting for, but I know he wanted to do that too.
I already wrote it. Sorry.
Well, you did. You got the post and everything.
Yeah,
but that's awesome because I was watching that episode when they sneak into. I love how the Guardian ended up being called Scar, but yeah, they snuck into her secret lab, and I saw the Black Lantern book on her shelf, and I was just like, please tell me that was for something. Please tell me that was for something.
All of that stuff was placed very particularly by Jim and Giancarlo. Like they were like, there's a bunch of stuff in there. There's some Star Wars crap, right?
Okay, so that's something I wanted to say because one, I think because you were on staff for Green Lantern, I'll throw the prop up again. Yeah. It's significant because I counted it up, and you are credited. No, you were on staff, so like you said, you got to play in the sandbox, but you're credited with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You had 7 episodes that were credited to you, which means that you wrote 27% of the entire show. As it's
a good chunk
for the contract. They were like, you must write 6 of them, and for no extra pay. I was getting weekly. So at that point, it's no scripts on top, right? Which we just won. We just won and I was just like, yes, I get to write more. So in addition to touching all the outlines and the drafts, when Jim would go, hey, this needs its rewrite from here's a Bruce Timm notes, do them all. Here's some, something else notes. It's like, do them, but make sure they're good. There's do them exactly and do the spirit of the note, right? There's different levels here depending upon who it's coming down from, but Yeah, so I actually enjoyed the process so much that I did an extra one for no extra pay.
Wow.
And then I think they decided to pay me. They were like, you know what, we're going to give you this. I'm like, you don't have to. It was a great episode. I forget the last one that I did.
Ranks was the penultimate episode of the series.
Right. So it was the second to the last because one of the top 3 things I've ever written. It might be the best episode of half-hour cartoon that I've ever written is number 20 called Cold Fury or something.
Oh, the one where Aya goes God mode. Yes.
Yeah. But the part I like is before there where before she turns her emotions off, where she's like, when will it stop hurting, Al? And it's like this thing about love that I've never seen in any other cartoon other than now you see it in anime all the time, you know, but before it was like, this ain't a kid show. Right? Like we were supposed to do a boys action 6 to 11, and it was more like this epic space opera where we smoked someone, we killed someone in the first episode or the second episode. Some guy, what's his name? The bad guy from RoboCop.
Yes, because he was the lantern.
The criminal boss. Yeah, he was the good lantern, and he gets get out of here, kid. You know, and it's like,
because he gets when the planet explodes,
coming up, giving these performances. Like people wrote in, so like I cried for that guy. I thought he was going to be part of the main cast. It's like, no, we just killed him. He was only around for 2 episodes.
I mean,
that's
but once again, you know, that was while we were discussing Batman the Animated Series, that was kind of our mantra throughout was, this is a kid's show.
Yeah, there's been many times where we were like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, you start off Batman in the Animated Series with Man Bat, which is essentially a horror, episode about a dude turning into a big, huge bat that is. Yeah, it's like it's the werewolf saga or whatever the hell. It's like that. It's transformation. It's crazy. And yeah, you start off with that episode, and then there's numerous times where there's times also where it gets they try to go for that kitty, like Batman in my basement. There's that episode where you have children that are just trying to like, hey, we have literally Batman in the basement. It feels like a children's story. But then you have some episodes where you're going, I'm not sure if that person lived.
Oh no! And the ones with I forget the actor's name, but he played Sebastian in Blade Runner or JF, right? And he's the guy who created the robots.
Oh, the Hardak episode.
Hardak, yes. Oh yeah, Hardak, yeah.
Dude, when there was that thing where like when Gordon goes down on all fours and his head spins around, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I was like 20 when I watched it. Like I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck is that?" Like that was creepy, right? I'm like, "This is a great cartoon." It doesn't have to be like Spawn, where you're like, "Oh, child killers." I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Spawn, it's done amazingly, right? It's done amazingly, but this Batman one's supposed to be 6 to 11 and sell toys, and they got some stuff in there that gives me just the absolute willies,
Well, it's interesting though, like the time period of the 90s. I mean, I remember collecting figurines for the Terminator, RoboCop, Rambo. I mean, these are R-rated movies that are gory, but yet they were selling toys. And I remember me and my friends, we watched the movies, we bought them. It was like an interesting time of like, oh yeah. You can have, obviously they want to fit things in a demographic, but then at the same time, it's like, oh, we kind of wanted to see the hardcore, like, hey, someone's going to get killed or someone's getting a knife to his head or something like that. I mean, we dug that stuff. I mean, that's what was kind of cool about that era. And I think the animated stuff translated with that too.
Well, I do think so, but I'm glad that you guys decided with Green, and I think that once again, to your credit and to all the people who worked on the show, when you take the writing seriously, when you treat it like a drama or like a space opera, and you don't treat it like a toy commercial, that's why people latch on and it lives on. Like this show has lived on. People still talk about the show 10 years later you don't do that unless you treat the audience with maturity and respect. And Green Lantern did that. And like you said, you weren't even writing, in my opinion, a superhero show. You were writing a space opera. This was full-blown science fiction, and I appreciated that because there was a seriousness, there was an epicness to the series that, even though it's only 26 episodes, you almost feel like it ran longer because the story just felt so huge. I mean, you guys you do your own interpretation of the Anti-Monitor. You do the whole like hand at the beginning of the universe from Marv Wolfman and George Perez and Crisis on Infinite Earth. I mean, you covered so much DC Universe stuff in this show. It was really incredible. And now I'm just fanboying and just you can just laugh up all the praise that I'm giving you because it was such great work. And exactly.
Don't stand up, Scott.
I will take some credit for one thing of it having an ending, because at a certain point, everybody still thought, "Oh, we're definitely getting more episodes to do. We're going to do this Black Lantern thing." It was a Bruce Timm show, but it was an expensive CG show.
Mm-hmm.
It cost more than double. It might have been triple. I don't know, but at least double what a 2D show, what Young Justice was costing. And I at the end of it, I'm like, we got to turn him into the Blue Lantern, and nobody wanted to do that. And I go, well, okay, what about if we just have at the end the Ring follow him as he goes off on Aya? And they were like, you know what? Let's storyboard that. Let's put it in the animatic. And then they had it, and then we found out we were canceled, and they freaking jammed it in. Like otherwise, it's just Razor goes off as a Red Lantern. That Ring. This is how we had such a hardcore fan. I don't know. I think they called themselves the Fan Turns, but they would meet at this one coffee shop, the people in LA, 40, 50 people on Saturday morning to watch both Young Justice and Green Lantern.
Wow.
And we were second, like everybody was there. And we came a couple times, and it was like, well, especially if you wrote the episode, you would come over and people were, they would get, it was really, really fun. And Greg Weisman was there for his season ender, and they played it on the same day in that same block. And then the Ring goes up, and there was this tremendous cheer at that. There was 100 people that day, right? There's this tremendous cheer, and Weisman looks over and goes, "Fuck you guys, you beat me."
Yeah.
At least in that season. Like, it went on for more, so it is, I shed no tears. And now he's got a reboot, and we don't.
But I wanted to add, okay, so this is this is great because this leads into a follow-up question I want to ask. Because in season 4 of Young Justice, they bring Razor into Young Justice, and he's half red, half blue, and it basically makes Green Lantern the animated series continuity with Young Justice in a way. And I was wondering, like, did you know about that? Did you guys feel like, thanks, Greg, when he made Razor part of Young Justice?
I don't know. I wonder if Jim wrote that episode, but unfortunately, I heard about it. It was a big thing on the internet for a second on some of my feed because I know the Fan Turn people, but I never saw the episode. It was on something else, and I didn't have a subscription.
It was on HBO Max. It was the only way to watch season 3 and season 4 of Young Justice was to have an HBO Max subscription. And
I was like, I think I missed the watch party. Someone was like, "Yeah, you got to see. It's like your characters. It's more Jim." I think I had, we all had something to do with Aya. I don't know. I can't even remember who named her. It was one of us. because it was off of AI.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
But then later
Like,
on,
how do you pronounce that? It was like AI, and I'm like
but then as sort of a lantern nerdiness, the fact that when you did the Scarred episode and it explained Aya's backstory, and then you realize that Ion, the green entity, is like part of her origin story. I thought it was cool that basically you took Ion and gave it a girl's name. It became Aya. I don't know if that was even intentional on somebody's part, but for me as
made it up later. Sorry, but
retconning is all what comic books are about, so that's cool.
Well, we didn't retcon, but it just, as we worked through, it was like, oh hey, this thing's named that. We can say this. You know, it's like we can ostensibly say this, but we did not think about that she had part of her in that, and that's why she was alive. Like, we had to figure that part out later, you know?
Yeah. But I think that's the interesting part sometimes, and I would like you to speak to this when it comes to television writing, is that you don't always have the answers at the beginning, and you kind of make it up as you. I get this sense based on commentaries that sometimes you just make stuff up as you go along. Is that sometimes what happens?
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing with comic book runs.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when people are just like they're just stacking. Yes, some people think about 12 issues. Hush, thought out a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's thought out for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, everybody knew that it was Thomas, whatever.
Tommy Elliott, yeah.
Tommy Elliott was the villain, and it's like, we got to redo this to make more red herrings, and it gets a little crowded in episodes or issues 6, 7, and 8. It's like, whoa, there's a lot of people jamming out here.
Jason Todd suddenly shows back up.
Yeah,
and
no, it wasn't Jason. It was Clayface. It's like, wow.
Yeah,
It's like double red herring. Zip, zip, ah.
Yeah. You thought it was Jason, but yeah.
And it's like, it's still Thomas Elliott. But
you were right in the first place. We were just trying to,
we're mixing
people in the mix. No, which is good. It's fun. I mean, that, and I'm sure, like, when it comes to something like that, it's like, when something is obvious, you kind of want to go like, well, you want to take the audience for a ride, and you kind of just want to throw some more hats into the, in there, just to be like, well, maybe we could try to, like you said, when they start introducing all these people. I mean, and that's what's fun about it too, is when you're reading it, you're going, oh, you're doing that whole thing where you're like turning the page and going, oh, but then, like you said, then it just goes right back to Thomas.
Yeah. Well,
you're like, you're right in the first place.
Well, and then of course, as far as we're concerned, that leads to you becoming starting in 2017, a major fixture of the DC animated movie universe, which of course started off with Justice League Dark, directed by Jay Oliva, who is we are fans. But this was interesting because this was the first R-rated animated movie, and I have to ask this before, as we start talking about Justice League Dark.
What is that? Is that like the Steelbox version?
Yes, I have I have the entire Steelbook
and better than mine, and I want it.
I know. See, Scott usually has the better stuff than the people who actually created it. It's crazy.
It does happen that way.
I got my.
Hey,
the John Constantine
from the thing. It graces. Great. In fact, I've got the full. The set of all the ones that I did, where you got like an extra.
Yeah, the little extra figures. Yeah, I ended up not getting the figurines because I opted for, because those were Best Buy exclusives, and the Steelbooks were Target exclusives, and I opted for
the Steelbook. Looks cool, man.
Oh, yeah, look how shiny.
Oh, and then the artwork on the back. Yeah. So I have every Steelbook released of those direct-to-video animated movies. It's just my collection. If there was a Steelbook, I have it. So
good
you do
Warner
Justice League
Brothers.
I know. I have to ask, Did y'all, when you were writing Justice League Dark and you were going to introduce John Constantine into this animated universe, when you were writing the script, did you already know that y'all were going to get Matt Ryan to voice him again? Or did you just write it and then Matt Ryan signed up later?
Well, they usually, okay. Answer was, I didn't know. Everybody was like totally hoping. Names were being thrown around. Keanu might do it.
Yeah.
The other one that I thought would have been very interesting would be Colin Farrell.
Ooh,
Okay.
And the people who were in charge of the voice were like, no, we usually go with someone who's a CW or a WB live action show person. So it's going to be Matt Ryan. And I was like, I was watching that show. That another show that got cut off, they only did 13, right? And I was just like, he's perfect for this role. This is good. I want it to be gorier. I like the Hellblazer thing, like Butcher a Hell episode or something, but that's too much for the CW to do something.
Well, and actually, that show was that was Friday nights on NBC. Like that was.
Yeah, it started off on NBC.
Oh, was it? Oh,
yeah.
Because
what they did was the show was on NBC, and then they used Arrow to eventually bring him into the CW with the Arrowverse.
Right.
So,
but then they just got his character to being like farcical.
No.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. Yes, but
like
that's a compliment.
Matt's great in it, though. Matt's great as a comedic force. If they're going to use him for that,
his line delivery was fantastic.
He's really. I met him once. And he's very, very, very nice, and super talented. Obviously, I was really happy they got him back. Even for I'm going to leap ahead. House of Mystery. I'm like, he's back.
He's pulling out. So what else you got there, Scott?
No, it's. Hold on. There it is.
Oh, you had something. Yeah.
Oh, I got House of Mystery. Here we go. Yeah.
I got that now. I got that version.
Okay.
They didn't do a steel book. They didn't do a steel book for this one because it was all the shorts. So, yeah.
But so let's see. That one was after. Okay. Alan Burnett was in charge of the movies from the get-go. My two favorites, by the way, are the Dark Knight Returns. The
Dark Knight Returns. Yes, Jay Oliva did the two-parter.
Jay Oliva, the two-parter Dark Knight Returns, I think, is the best one. Written by, I think it's Bob Goodman.
Yes, it was Bob Goodman who did that.
Who does Futurama, and Bob does Elementary. So got to keep him straight. But that's the best. I was like, I just killed to write one of those. But so Alan Burnett's doing that one, and then they try to stick him with the show Justice League Action, and he is getting close to retirement, and he's like, I don't want to do two of these things, but. I had done the Rage of the Red Lanterns episode, which was one of the first 10 on Justice League Action. And he's like, I got to give you a little bit more. And then they had like a little. They're like, we got to pull you on Scooby. The person who was writing this we're moving him off to do something else, and we're way behind. And the upshot of the Scooby WWE 2 was I kept the trains running on time, and it's an okay movie, right? Like it was going to be, it's not going to come out. It's this is a disaster. But I got him something that they shot, and Brendan Vietti did a great job, and some people like that show. But he's like, all right, let's get you back to Justice League Action. Then all of a sudden, the same thing happens with Justice League Dark, where J.M. DeMatteis is pulled off to do like comic stuff or something. So he's written an outline. They want to go slightly a different way, and they need it fast. So I get to do that. So the story is by J.M. and myself. It follows his thing for most of the first acts, but the second and third acts are all new. It's a different story that I kind of came up with.
Mm.
And I was psyched. People weren't, there was a bunch of fandom was like, oh, Batman's in this one again. And I was like, no, this is great. Best magical detective and best regular detective.
I hate those
Batman,
fans.
this is going to be like, he hates magic. He doesn't believe
he doesn't
in
understand it.
And Constantine's going to get on his nerves.
Yes.
I'm like, this is going to be one of the funnest writing experiences.
Yes.
And then they got Jason O'Mara to do it, and it was so fun.
Because he was a Batman for that universe. Yeah.
Bill Luddington doing Zatanna, and it was great. So, and then right after that, they were like, hey, you know what? How about, would you like to roll on to Teen Titans, the Judas Contract? And now what I'll give you a little inside info is I remember not liking Teen Titans. I left them for dead. I was like, I'm an X-Men guy. That's it. Don't like these Teen Titans. And someone said, no, man. They changed it up. You gotta check it out again. Like this, team Giordano and Wolfman. Wolfman's writing it, and I was like, all right, I will give it a shot. And the first episode was the first Judas Contract part.
Okay.
That's the one where I got back to it and I'm like, holy crap, this is good. This is really good. So I remember buying that when I was 14, and then they offer it to me. And I was like, yes.
Well, I have to say that because we're going to get to Apokolips War, but Apokolips War.
I don't know how we're going to get to it.
We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. But
do you want to come back in a couple months? We'll do the movies. I don't know.
But Judas Contract and Apokolips War are in my top 10 of all of those, starting with Superman Doomsday. Basically of all those, you wrote so. Judas Contract is so. It's faithful enough to the story, but fits nicely into this universe. And like you got Damian and for Robin, and you got Jaime's Blue Beetle. Like you updated the team. But it's just done so well. And I know a lot has to do with the animation and the way the fights are, but you wrote it to where you care about the team, and there were twists enough in it that even if you had read Judas Contract, you could still enjoy the movie and not feel like you knew exactly what was going to happen. I mean, we all know that Tara is going to, betray the team. It's kind of the point of the story.
And there was a great animated show about it too, done by Rob Hoagie. So they did a pretty faithful adaptation. I think this is better because we got to. I mean, they had to pull back a little bit. She's frozen or whatever, right? It's like, we killed her.
Yes.
And Christina Ricci. Wow, what a freaking performance. Yeah. That scream is haunting that she does.
Mm-hmm. And it was also, I think, it was his last performance, but Miguel Ferreira was the voice of Deathstroke for that movie.
It was, well, you know what? It was one of his. I think it might have been his last.
I think it was the last thing that was released was this, him as Deathstroke. But I do have to ask, there's a line that you wrote in the movie. Deathstroke says it. I just have to ask if it's a reference. When the team is strapped to the machine, to Brother Blood's machine, and Deathstroke walks in, and he looks at Deathstroke looks at Blue Beetle and go, "It's good to have goals, Hesse. Me, I'm having waffles after you're dead." I have to. Was that Teen Titans Go reference to the waffle song, or did you? Or what was the waffle?
No, I wish. I just thought it was a cool thing to say.
Oh no!
Wow,
Okay.
You thought there was going to be a connection. Oh,
yeah.
I wanted waffles.
I can't take credit for that. I just thought,
well,
I'm having waffles. It's
know.
like on the machine.
It's just a good line.
This whole like Dick Giordano, or am I getting that name right? Who's the artist?
It was George Perez was the artist. George Perez was the artist on the run. Yeah.
George Perez. I'm sorry. God, I got his name. Oh, and I got his name wrong on another.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Hey, we do that all the time. We get names wrong all the time.
Well, he does. But
yeah, that whole machine, you know, they love doing the references from the comic books in these things for, you know, for fan service.
Of course,
but there are things
back
that you
to the beginning when we said fan service.
That is the shortest one I've ever gotten, in that it was basically, it's 4 issues, but one's a double issue. So actually it's 5 issues, 100 pages. And we had to eliminate an entire book of the origin of Deathstroke, which is really cool. It didn't fit.
It didn't fit. Well, and also technically in that continuity, they'd already kind of done that with Son of Batman, you know, earlier. So you were kind of, because you got to play with, you know, the relationship between Deathstroke and Damian that only exists within that movie continuity because of the way they made him like a League of Assassins guy. So
I you know what, you don't want to I don't want to tear this isn't tearing down somebody's work, but the Bat trilogy, the Bat family trilogy that Tucker did, and you know, the writers were so good at making me absolutely loathe Damian. I'm like, this little fucker,
this little shit.
And so I started banging the drum of like, I want to kill him in our timeline. Let me kill Damian. And they're like, no, you can't do it. And yeah, because he's not in the Judas Contract.
He's
he
not
exist, right? So we're putting him in, right? I mean, like Cyborg was taken out of that, and we put in Blue Beetle, right? I mean, he wasn't in the originals. So I'm like, let me kill him. Oh, and then all that stuff of like just Deathstroke handling him, because I did not like that he beat Batman. I'm like, come on, I'm going to kill this for all the fans. I'm going to kill him. And then I got to do it. I got to do it in Apokolips War.
Yeah.
And then James is like, you know, we were going to kill him in another one, but you made him likable enough that he served, you know, like now fans are liking him more. And I'm like, fuck.
That's hilarious.
Damn it.
So you hated him so much that you made him likable after killing him.
He had the good relationships with Raven.
Yeah.
And then with obviously the thing with Deathstroke. So he turns out good in that movie, you know, and now he's got a dog. I mean, like, is that the one where he's talking to Batman about using protection? Like, is that in there, or where?
Yes, it is. Is it in that one,
or is it Son? No.
There's like cut. There's stuff that I wrote and got cut, and I was just like, oh, that's in there. And then I talk about it, and they go, no, that's not.
No, they cut that out. They didn't want.
I don't know, because you got away. The best thing about these, they knew these were adults buying these movies.
Yeah.
And even though they would put them in the kids and family section at Target, which was always disturbing.
That scene. Oh no, that's in Hush. I hope you're using protection, Father. I understand that you're a man of needs. We are not talking about this. It's one of my favorite scenes. Yeah,
it's kind of familiar.
So I wanted to. I got to kill him, and then James had always wanted to get White Raven in. So I'm like, yeah, you know, in the Apokolips War, there's so many great, like, people die, goodbye, honey, explosion, Lois is gone, shit like that. There's so many endings. It's like I do a super Lord of the Rings where I've got 15 tie-offs, and they're all like, I want to give them all their moments, right? Yeah. So I really like that about that movie.
Well, other fans were like Kylo Ren, more. All of that, more. Yeah.
Well, because Apokolips War did.
Then he immediately brought him back to life. So I was like, oh, yeah. I guess I did get to. I mean, did you see how effed up he was? I'm like, come on, make it be painful.
No.
He got hit by the Omega beam, and he's got that little mange of hair, and he's burned and stuff. And he's like, "Is that enough for you?" I'm like, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyways.
Okay, so I have to ask about Apokolips War because I actually had the benefit of getting a screener for this one because for my original podcast called the DC Squawkcast over Squawkcast Media, I was so excited that on our Patreon I did a complete rewatch of the entire continuity. I was literally watching one a day and recording like little 10-minute reviews and dropping them on Patreon of each movie leading up to Apokolips War.
Wow.
And then I snagged a screener and recorded my review so that it could drop the morning that this movie came out. I was really excited for this movie. But I have to ask you, because I think of the continuity film, of the universe movies, this is the best one, in my opinion. This was a fabulous movie. You did a great job. But I have to ask, what kind of sick, twisted son of a bitch are you?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, are you overlooking Flashpoint?
No, I'm not. Oh, Flashpoint, I count as the first one.
Yeah, that's the first one. I think that's one of my favorites for sure.
Oh yeah,
it's a good one, but this is just a whole. It's just a whole nother level.
Wonder Woman using the golden lariat to hang Billy Batson. Old man, that is freaking.
I mean, you came up with some creative ways to kill off these characters.
But you also had one of the most laugh out loud lines for me in this movie. Like all the darkness, all of this. But there's a scene where Constantine is talking to Superman and Raven, and it's like, I got to get us to this other place. It's going to take a while. I don't have all my stuff. And Raven just goes, oh, for fuck's sake. And I bust out laughing every time, which is so great in a movie that it's not a corny joke. But in a movie that's so dark, just to have Raven go, oh, for fuck's sake. It makes me laugh every time. And I love humor like that. And I wanted to give you that compliment because I still remember sitting at my kitchen table watching the screener and just busting a gut watching this movie after being totally horrified by the first 20 minutes.
It's true. Well, you know what? I gotta give some props. Usually I've been podcasts where like, this was the funniest thing. And Margaret put in that he dated King Shark.
Yes.
But what happened in that one was, so Margaret writes this really excellent script. We get word, or they get word, that, oh, by the way, this is the absolute last movie of it. So of the thing, you have to wrap everything up.
The continuity, yeah.
Okay. So all of a sudden, James is like, crap, this is a Justice League. It stars Superman, right? Her script has Superman in the lead, and it was another thing, and it didn't deal with the Darkseid War. So, it did. I'm sorry, it did deal with it, but it had Superman in the lead. She had to go off and do something awesome. I think she was running a show. I forget, right? But she had to go show run someplace. So they're like, okay, first of all, we're changing it to a Justice League Dark now, and it's got to star Constantine, but it's got to do these 68 things. Right? Like, can you do it? Right? We're going to wrap up every single plot line. And so Jim and I kind of had to figure it out with James. And we pitched him something, and then during the production, they kind of did more. And wouldn't it be great to get this person in the background? Like stuff like that isn't all me, right? Mm-hmm. But the lines and the battles and working, I mean, they had to cut like a bunch of them. I had a whole how he takes over Atlantis, which was from Tom King's. God, see, I'm getting mixed up. I'm thinking about Injustice for a second.
I was about to say, Tom Taylor, you're thinking about Injustice.
No, okay. So yeah, no, it was just doing all the stuff that he had wanted to do. And they hadn't done a Supergirl movie, so we didn't have that for the Dark Side War. But basically, they did Dark Side War in one thing. We were only supposed to get 72 minutes. Somehow, James stretched it with the scan and pan doing the dialogue into 90, because then you're just using one frame and switching it and making your 1 second work for 20 seconds while we say a line or something, and it's just mouth flap, which doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that thing was so fun to write. All those characters,
sure.
all those bit parts. I mean, I put in Etrigan. I added Etrigan. I added Captain Boomerang because I love Liam, the way he does that. That I was like, oh, I gotta get Captain Boomerang in here just so I can give this line of "You get a boomy, you get a boomy, you get a boomy," like Oprah him while he's murdering people. Yeah, so I love that one. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite ones. Batman Hush and Dark Apokolips War. Although special place in my heart for Dark, because that was the first one I got to do, and it was an R. Oh, I love that. So it came out, and we did not. Tucker will say this. It's like we did that 5 years later thing, and then we came out 4 months after Avengers Endgame. And they did the 5 years. And so everybody on the internet that doesn't know production schedules and how long it takes to animate shit was like, they copied. We can't come out with a movie 3 months. It's like, oh yeah, it's so great to have 5 year things.
So that happens so much where everybody thinks everybody's copying everybody, but they don't, like you said, they don't realize production schedules and timing and everything. And so everybody just comes up with the conclusions, and then, people start beating their keyboards like crazy and saying, oh my God. Yeah, I remember that. I actually remember that too.
So they had this meme, which I loved so much, in that they're like, Avengers Endgame. And you see Iron Man dies. And you see whatever, Tony Stark lying there with Gwyneth Paltrow, right? When he dies. And then it goes, like our thing, Apokolips War, hold my beer, and it listed like gung, 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 like all the people that we smoked in that. It's like Jon Stewart, death by lava. This, that. Like you get one line. Your line is
Yeah. I remember watching that movie and going, what the fuck? I forgot who I texted, but I was like, have you seen? You're not just the way that everybody was getting offed. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah, that's why we love it so much.
Or they come back and they're mutated by Apocalypse's.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All the cybernetic like Starfire and Wonder Woman.
Flash endlessly running. Powering the thing. I mean, and that's Taylor. Taylor thinking that crap up too. So he's a twisted effort. One part that no, wait, that's not Taylor. Sorry, it's Injustice. Sorry, I guess we were just the twisted fuckers. Yeah,
of course.
For 1 second, it was like around the Warner animation community, it was like Ernie, Prince of Darkness, because in a row I had Justice League Apokolips War, then I had House of Mystery Constantine, where what happens?
So many things.
Continually dies in 100 different ways. It's actually our version, Jim and my version of Heaven Sent.
Okay. Yes, the Doctor Who episode.
Capaldi, Doctor Who, and then followed by Injustice.
Yes.
So from those three things, I gotta be close to 1,000 deaths.
Yeah, you like killing your superheroes, don't you?
I mean,
Mowing through them. I am the Reaper.
Yeah.
But you know what? We
Ernie the
love
Reaper Altbacker. Yeah.
but I don't know. I love it. You know, I guess at the time though, everything was just so candy coated and family friendly that, you know, like you said, Apokolips War was officially, if you don't count the two-parters that they edited together into single movies like Dark Knight Returns or The Death and Return of Superman, Apokolips War being the single longest of the animated releases. Like, it wasn't one where it was like 75 minutes and you were cut off. You know, it once again, it kind of goes back in a lesser fashion than what you guys did with Green Lantern, but the idea was you took these characters seriously. You knew who your audience were, and you were like, we're doing animation, but we know adults are watching. And it
no kids are watching. I mean, Green Lantern, the show, yes.
Yes.
That's what we're going for. But these movies are for 14 and up, I'd say. You know, I mean, really, they'll say, oh, no, it's got to be 16 and above or 18 and above. But they're hoping you're 13 and 14, 15-year-olds that like superheroes would get a hold of this, because that's when I would have watched it. I think that's when we would have watched it. We're like, oh my God, the cool death or something like that. It's for fans. And then it's also for 30, 40, and 50-year-old hardcore fans that love this stuff.
Yes.
All the time. And there's enough of us that if you end up buying 50,000 steel books, that it makes a profit. And they can.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So you're one of the people. It's like that stat
happen.
on drinking, where the top 10% of drinkers make 85% of bars' profits. Everybody else, like the bottom 60, accounts for almost nothing. You know, you're not in the
crazy
top.
Those numbers when you think about that. Yeah.
The top 10% is like they're drinking a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what we have, except with nerddom. Right.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, nobody has an office like that.
Especially nowadays. I mean,
look at all of your stuff. It's the same. It's the same. We're the same.
Well,
we're the people like going around. It's like, oh man, I want to get. They're doing a new, like remaster of Serenity. I want it. You know, like I'm ordered now.
I feel kind of seen. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like a lot of people just kind of like, they enjoy things. I'm their proxy because I will buy this shit.
Oh yeah, Scott. Well, I mean, I see it. I mean, but there's nothing, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like, if you were to turn his camera around, you'd see like what he has, like just like in shelves and everything. It's pretty magical. I know you've organized it, but but I mean, he's got. There's been times where he's shown like what is his basement that his man cave that he has right there. And that's, I mean, but stuff like this is for that kind of audience. And like you were saying is like, yeah, there's people older. And during that time too, what I was going to bring up is the fact that, this was when Marvel Studios and the MCU were at the height of their powers. And that was more like, that's the popcorn fun and everything like that. And then it's like, well, now we got this DC animated stuff where it just, it gets a little dark. It's in the freaking title, So, and that's what was great about it. I think that's what being more DC fans. I mean, I grew up more DC than Marvel, just like Scott. I mean, we were more DC fans than we were Marvel, and when they're at the height of their powers, we kind of were like, and DC was still trying to find their footing. Obviously, we're like what Zach was doing, but of course they kind of fucked that whole thing up. And then it was just kind of like, okay, well, all right, we're all about DC, but it seemed like when you get something like Apokolips War, I mean, that remember when that was coming out, a lot of people were posting little GIFs, little clips, and going, "What the fuck?" I mean, they were seriously just like, "What the fuck?" moments that people were posting, and it's just funny to hear from you and just being like, "Wow, you twisted son of a bitch."
whenever I write these movies, and I'm glad they went on Dark One with the R, but it doesn't really earn the R. right? Like they should have at least had.
Yeah.
It's like a hard PG.
You get the rating after you've completed the film, but that's the reason why he doesn't smoke. You know, like if we were gonna get an R anyway and go with it, why isn't he puffing away? Basically,
what is up with that? That is like the thing where you can't have smoking. You can have him blowing, sniffing coke off a hooker's ass.
You've got a literal shit monster.
Look at this
in Justice League Dark.
Look at this thing.
So
that's a cigarette pose,
but he's not holding a
cigarette. Basically. Right? They were like, nope, can't have that.
That's so stupid because I heard recently, like the series, The Studio, the showrunner said like they wouldn't allow smoking, but you could see somebody snorting coke, taking mushrooms, drinking a bunch of alcohol till they fall down, a bunch of sex, but you can't have smoking. And I'm going, what the like this is what are we doing here? This doesn't even, it's like when you can't drink in a fucking alcohol commercial, in a beer commercial, you can't see anybody taking a drink. But I'm like, but that's what you're selling, a drink. It doesn't make sense.
Always goes and gets blasted. So at least in Apokolips War, we have him totally drunk.
Yep.
Well, you could show him doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. At least he's got that going.
God forbid he puts a cigarette in his mouth.
But yeah. So
yeah. But Batman Hush, though, I wanted to talk about that. And I mean, obviously, with people familiar with that story and all the, like you said, the red herrings and everything like that, when it came to that ending and trying to figure out, I mean, I remember listening to Jay Oliva and I always loved what he had to say. I remember there was the time where he was on, I think it was like Justice Con. This guy was like one of the Justice Cons that he was on both Justice Cons back.
He was on both Justice Cons.
He was, right?
Tim interviewed him for the second one.
That's right. But I remember him like, I mean, what I loved what he had to say was the fact that it's when you take like existing stories, you don't want to just do bit by bit with the story. You want to change some things up. You want to like add your own little flavor to it. It's like it's somebody else's recipe, but you want to like, hey, well, what if we did this instead? I mean, how, like when it came to Batman Hush, I mean, like when it came to that writing process, like how did that all come about when it's like changing things, and then especially when it comes to like the ending and stuff?
Well, all right, and I do want to say the reason why these are so mature, and it's totally on purpose, is
of course
when I'm writing something, I'm picturing it as the live action version. I'm thinking of Heath Ledger is doing my Joker lines or something like that, and then when they get somebody, it's better. They always compliment you about the lines. They go, hey, these things are really chewy, they're good, you can do something with them, right? Batman Hush, it suffers from the adaptation process in that it is a 12-issue run, and it would be impossible to get in, and people love that one. That one was it came out during my or after my college years, so I hadn't read it before I got the assignment for it, and they were like, "Oh man, you're gonna get some heat," because Justice League Dark was like most of it was my new story, and so it was just a version of it. And Teen Titans, we kind of stuck the landing on that. People didn't mind that we got rid because the Deathstroke thing origin story cut so cleanly. Batman Hush, we had to make choices. And so you're in the room and they go, what must we absolutely have in this? And, I was like, I want the Superman Poison Ivy stuff in there. Somebody else said, Joker's always good. Got to keep the Joker in there. Right. And one thing, somebody goes, this was before Harley kind of exploded. It's like this minor character, this Harley Quinn scene where she's like in there, she's getting a little hot. Why don't we keep her in? Because she was definitely on the chopping board. It was before any of the movies, right? Or maybe the first one had come out or something. And she wasn't the mega star that she is right now in the DC universe. And then it gets to, all right, well, story. everybody knows that it's Thomas. I'm forgetting his name again. Tommy
Elliott.
Oh.
Yeah.
God, I could just go Tom Swain. Tommy Elliott.
There's a lot of Thomases. Yeah.
There is a lot of Thomases. Yes.
And it might have been me, might have been someone else that I think I pitched. Well, instead of having be two of the villains, which is a great, like, oh, there's somebody else, right? I understand why they did it. If we combine it into one and just have the Lazarus Pit, as they have something with the Lazarus Pit in there. Like, what if it gave the Riddler so much clarity that he could figure it out? He could figure out who Batman was, and then B, it gives him the superpowers, of the super strength of Ra's al Ghul. So if he puts a mask on, he's not very respected in the criminal world. He's got a riddle, whatever, right? I mean, by the biggies, right? They don't really care about him. So he creates this new thing, and that's absolutely badass, and they have to deal with. But he can also walk around as his Riddler persona and be like, just being me,
doing
just
my thing.
I'm working on a new riddle. It's like, okay, it's not that fucking guy, right?
Yeah.
So, just putting him into one, and then actually killing Tommy Elliott, and having the Joker be innocent. That's a great scene in there of like that Gordon talks him down to like not murder the Joker. Although we do cover this in Injustice. And it's one of those deals where it's like, come on, man. He's just going to get out and kill like 300-400 people again with his Joker gas or something. It's just like, just don't save him. We're not asking you to murder him. Just don't save him the next time, But Batman's going to do Batman things. So, but
I will say this.
Catwoman just toss the Riddler into a pit, into a grinding machine.
Yeah.
Yes.
That. Yes, you kept your Dr. Death going very well.
That was the beginning of it. That was the beginning. It whet my appetite for the murder of villains and superheroes.
I will say I am not one of those who gave you heat for this movie. Probably.
Oh, yeah, ruined childhood. Sorry.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry
absolutely.
Ruined your childhood.
I hate it when people say that stuff. That's the worst thing. Fuck you. What kind of childhood did you have? Come on.
I think it also helped, and I can clarify this.
Wait, I want your thing, but I just have to say about the childhood. It's like, so, okay, no interactions with your family, your mother, or your father. I've just swept that away by combining these two villains into
all those great
villain.
Times at Disneyland and whatever.
Like there's no memory. There's no memory. Like we're riding bikes in the street or playing some street hockey. Like that is all gone now because I have done this and made the Riddler the actual villain. I am sorry. I am sorry.
How dare you, sir? Damn it.
Anyway,
yeah, well, no, because I read Hush. I didn't read it in single issues. I read it collected.
Yeah.
And I could tell you from the first start, it's Tommy Ellis Hush. Like, it's not a very... A mystery is not a mystery to me if I can figure it out. As soon as you introduce it's that thing where you introduce the new character. It's like, that must be the bad guy if he's the brand new character who we've never met before.
We just had this our last episode that we talked about with Batman Beyond. It was like similar to that. We had a new character and we're like, that's the villain automatically. Remember?
Yeah, exactly. With that Spellbinder.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind it. So it was so when Tommy Elliott actually gets killed, I was like, oh shit.
It was surprising. Like, whoa.
It was surprising. So I didn't mind that. I think you get heat the same way that Brian Azzarello gets heat for the Killing Joke movie, I think he gets more heat than you do.
Yeah.
I think he gets even more heat than you do. And I like the Killing Joke movie. So, but once again, I think it depends on.
I was at Comic-Con and somebody tried to give me heat, and I've never seen a person yell from the stage of like fuck you. When it happened, I was like, damn, he went there.
Yeah.
I'm not brave enough.
Dude.
I don't think that's brave. I don't.
Yeah, it's definitely not brave. Well, I mean, like, you know, I always go back to what Zack Snyder said on Joe Rogan's podcast. This shit's like religion to people. And when you start doing some change, and it's like, yeah, you don't have to like it, but I mean, and then maybe like, I mean, when I saw the Hush thing, I was like, I was shocked by that. And when I saw the Riddler, I was like, oh, I don't know if I like it, but I respect it. It's like one of those things where I was like, because I already knew who it was, and you threw me a curveball, and I'm like, oh, respect, because I did not see. I just was already going, oh, we already know where this is going. Oh shit, did not see that coming, and I like that aspect of it. But like I said, there are people that just treat this shit like it's religion. So they again ruined my childhood. You know.
Well, you know, when I pitched it, Mike Carlin from DC was like, "Yes, let's do it." This everybody knows it, right? He was on board. James Tucker is like a little more like, I'm not quite sure yet. Alan Burnett, who was doing it, I think convinced him. But then when James got on board, he was like, "Oh, we got all these like clues and stuff." The cool thing about it was, I didn't really invent new pieces. Sometimes when adaptations go wrong is when you just all of a sudden bring in some extraneous element, right? You know, it's like, say I was doing Hamlet, right? And I was like, I'm going to redo Hamlet. And it's like, except now Hamlet's got to have, he's going to have an animal side. He's going to have a monkey sidekick. And that's who he's going to be talking to, right? And it's like, that's going to be a little jarring for people, fans of Hamlet. I used all the pieces that were in there, and I arranged them in a different way, but I didn't add new pieces.
Very true. It's a good way to put it.
That
No
is
one's going, you know, the people that like the thing is like, oh, it makes a little more sense now. Other people are like, childhood ruined. But you know, but what they should be okay with is he didn't throw in new pieces.
True. I didn't think about it.
True.
That's a good way to explain it too. It's like, yeah,
that's the easiest way to like really change something is like, you know, whatever. I mean, we had to do it for the timeline. It is the Tuckerverse, which he hates that name, Jim. But you know, we can't do Teen Titans: The Judas Contract with the original members. You know, like Nightwing was around already when he didn't get the suit that day. The very gaudy suits in our thing.
Oh yeah, the disco suit. Yes,
Nightwing. You know,
disco suit. Oh man, that suit. No, but now it does make sense when it comes to that. And then of course, I mean, even Injustice. I mean, obviously, we already kind of talked about Injustice.
Oh, childhood ruined.
I know.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna put myself out there.
Okay.
Not a fan of the Injustice movie. I'm just, you know, respect to you. I saw what you're trying to do. Like you said, it suffered an adaptation because you had the year one comic that Tom Taylor had written, and then you eventually had to get to the ending that happens at the end of the game, you know, because the comic has like the comics cover 5 years. And then the game happens.
And I took some Harley stuff from the Aftershocks.
Yes.
Oh wow.
So I read a foot and a half of stuff, and I came back because a lot of people kind of poo-pooed Injustice because it was a video game first. I didn't even know that. I had to stop myself from playing video games because I literally wasn't getting any writing. So the last video games I've played, I think, are Doom 3 and Quake 2. So
wow.
That's
a while ago. That's a while ago.
Yeah. So I've never played all the good ones because I get addicted. And it's like
I'm with you. Last games I played were
I get nothing done.
Yeah, I played the Batman Arkham games, and those took way too much time.
I want to say that I went back in. Now, people are like, why didn't you just make a show out of it? The home video is higher.
Video
has to be a movie. I cannot go in and like a crazy man go, it can be a prestige mini series, like they're looking for a
Fork over more money, please.
Yeah. But what I did go in and said, let's make it a trilogy, because Jeremy was doing something, Adams, and he was like, oh, they're going to make 2 Mortal Kombats. I'm like, can't we make 3 of these? I could do 3. Here's where they end. Here's all this stuff I got in. And they were adamant on, nope, we want 1 movie, and that's it. And I'm like, what if it's a big hit? Nothing. So I was like, well, shit, I'm going to just try and... The first book, I think, is year 1 is the best one.
Yes.
For me. Because then it becomes a hit. And I don't even know, do you call it year 1? I guess you do, just in case you go back to it, right? But once you get into the year 3 and stuff, there's some repetition, and I'm like, but that first one, you get that really strong start of Superman finally, justifiably murdering the Joker, putting his fist right through him,
and, which everybody's
take total credit for this. I don't know why they didn't have it in the game or in the comic. He punches through him and doesn't give Joker a last line. So that's me going, now that's a punchline.
Yes. See?
I don't care. He's like part demonic. Joker for me is part demonic. Fist through. He's got 2 or 3 seconds to say
still
something.
Has to do something. Yeah.
And now that's a punchline. And what's his name? Did it great. Like his
was that Troy Baker? What Troy Baker?
No, it was the guy from The Usual Suspects.
Usual Suspects. Benicio? No, not Benicio. Nah.
No. The guy who they pull out of the car. What's his name? He plays the Hungarian mobster in 9 and whatever. Look it up.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, look it up, please. I was like, I could look it up too. I literally have IMDb. He was in Usual Stuff.
Be surprised. He does like the second best walk-in.
Let's see. Hold on. This is very. This is intriguing me right now. All right. So who played the Joker? See, that's the thing. Is like
Kevin Pollak.
Oh, it's Kevin. Jesus.
Pollak, right?
Pollak, yeah.
Of course. What the hell, man?
It's an amazing. I think it's a great Joker that he pulled out of his.
I totally forgot that he played
Anthony Mount as our Batman is freaking killer. I'm like, oh, but so yes, I pitched it as 3 movies. And that
was a good choice on your part.
Yeah, and they're like, no. And then so they're like, all this great stuff is out. And I know what everybody kills me for is the Flash, but from on high, people in the room is like, they just solved something with Flash doing the cosmic treadmill, and they're like, everybody's going to expect us. Why doesn't the Flash just run this back? So we're going to kill him right away. And it was the other thing was we need to merge some plot lines, and the Flash's plot line we basically gave to Mr. Terrific.
Yes,
because they wanted Mr. Terrific in this. He isn't in it as much, and they're like, we like the actor that we're using for it. He's on some show that we like, and whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'll give him that whole Superman breaks the back of this like kid, whatever. I'm like, we didn't even have time to deal with that. The part that really hurt was getting rid of the Green Arrow and Black Canary relationship, which I really, really liked. But I had to keep Green Arrow and Harley,
which you have to, those scenes,
which I love them together. That should be like a road trip, right?
Yep. That's a good dynamic right there. Yeah.
And they cut like 2 scenes. They had to. I made that script long, and they cut. The animators talk about the one that they hurt them was the Superman beating the snot out of Ares, the god of war. And it's like when we're gonna stop all war, you're gonna be not the god of war, the god of butterflies and ponies. And that was like the animators had this. It was gorgeous. It was in the animatic and the voices and everything, and they had to cut the entire scene. It's like a 6-minute battle and everything. It's like boop, gone. Couldn't do that. Couldn't do a bunch of them. There's so much good stuff in there. There's so much.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
injustice.
Thank you for your perspective. It helps me. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch the movie now, knowing that, because now I know to blame Warner Brothers and not you. So that's thank you.
No, I've ruined your childhood. That's good.
You can't ruin a childhood when I was okay. My injustice story that will appreciate this. The game came out the day after my first child was born. So I left the hospital to go take a shower, but the GameStop where I had the game pre-ordered was on the way back to the hospital. So I literally pulled off the highway, bought the game, put it in my car, and went back to the hospital and just sat in the trunk for the week while we were at the hospital. And so there are memories of playing that game while, rocking my firstborn child. That's
why his middle name is Injustice.
That would be great. I mean, you know what? That one always got me, where people were like, "You ruined my childhood by killing the Flash." I'm like, the game's only like 10 years old. This comic's 7 years. How old are you?
I know.
Is this a 14-year-old talking to me?
You ruined my teenage years. Or
you ruined my 30s.
You ruined my 20-year-old. Yeah, mid-20s. Like, come on. I know. I always hate it when you hear stuff like that. It's just
a lot of great. But so here's the people that don't like that are the super fans like yourself, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
What I have heard is you can give that to a person that doesn't know any of the universe. That they've heard about Superman, and they love it. They're like, "Oh, I've never seen this dark version of Superman." They're like, Superman getting bad because he wants everything. Like, it makes total sense. If you're not a fan, that would be one that I would go, all right, if I wanted to put my best foot forward, if I wanted to get a job, and it's like, you don't know anything about superheroes? Okay. You know there's a guy named Batman, the Flash, and Wonder Woman and stuff. That's about what they know. I would give them that movie. Because it is a rollicking adventure. It's 72 minutes. There's not an ounce of fat on it because there's not. Just like
straight to the point.
It just runs headlong through. It's too fast. It's too fast, if anything.
Yes, I would agree. It is too fast. But once again, but to your point, this is material that I am so entrenched in that I'm going to be, from my perspective, I'm going to be a harsher critic. But I'm also not going to sit here and tear you a new one, because
we're not one of those. We're not those kind of fans.
We're not those kind of people.
I deal with it all the time.
Before. Why'd you do this? I'm like, just to piss you off, sir.
Well, you know what? Mission accomplished.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we deal with that when it comes to how the movies are adapted. I mean, and we're big Zack Snyder fans, and what he was doing with the DC universe, he wanted to also take that approach. He goes, well, we've done this. How about we deconstruct these characters and show them, going through these struggles? And people hated that. We loved it, but people hated that. They're like, not my Superman, not my Batman. That's not it. I mean, it's always that kind of shit. But we're like, yeah, okay. But can you just give it a shot? And then it's funny when people actually do give it a shot. They go, oh, okay, I see what he was doing. It's like, yeah, we tried to tell you 9 years ago, but, whatever.
I really like that version.
Yeah. So one thing we wanted to make sure that we got a chance for you to talk about, because we are coming up on 2 hours. And
2 hours, yeah.
We said 1 hour. I knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, we knew that was. We knew you're too much fun. Man.
No one's gonna wade through 2 hours of this. I'm sorry.
No, trust me, we have dedicated fans.
We have fans. We've done 6 hours on a Friday night, so this is child's play. But you have a Kickstarter coming out, and we want you to take an opportunity to tell us about Area 51 Studios.
Well, you know what? This thing I've been trying. I was knocking on the door. I've tried to do some DC comics, and it's just jam packed with good people, and I've managed to do a story here and there. But I'm like, I'm going to just have to start making this happen. And I've got all these other stories that I would want to go to. I'm like, somebody was like, why don't you just skip to that part? Why don't you just skip to the new material that you want to make? And so I found a great artist. His name is Josh White. He's from Arizona. We met at Comic-Con, in a panel. It's like one of these speed dating comic creator panels. It's a bunch of artists and a bunch of writers that go together, and they just, here's what I like, here's what I'm about. And the artists are like, this is my style. They show you pictures. And I saw one particular image from Josh, and I was like, this is the guy. Now can I convince him? And it was kind of a funny story, because his stuff was so good. I think a lot of people wanted to work with him. And I'm like, well, I've done some stuff for DC, right? And he's thinking everybody, because people were like, oh, I've done this and this. And it's like, that's probably bullshit. So the next thing he goes to is the panel for Justice League War World, right? And they do. They do, right, Scott? They do a movie. Now, I was one of 4 writers, with Jim Krieg wrangling myself, Jeremy Adams, and Josie Campbell. And we each did one section. Which
section did you do, by the way?
I did Cowboy Wonder Woman.
Yes. Nice.
I think that's the strongest section of that movie.
Oh, you just gotta say that.
Oh, you kiss ass. You kiss ass.
No, it had Jonah Hex. I mean, no, it was
good. It was good. I pitched that. I was like, how are you going to do it? I'm like, I want to do the woman with no name. I want to do Clint Eastwood, but it's Wonder Woman. She doesn't know she's Wonder Woman. I mean, that was part of it that Jim had figured out, but it's all War World. Well, you've seen the movie, right?
I've seen the movie, yes.
So, and then there's this girl who does Wonder Woman a lot for Warner Brothers, I guess, in events. Valerie, I don't know her last name. And she showed up from the trailer that we did. She showed up cosplaying Western Wonder Woman, like exact. I was like, oh, is that, like as they're asking questions, I'm like, yes, character that I made, cosplayed first year, right? Even though she's been in the Old West before, but this is our version. So, damn it. My first one, I tried not to go on all the cul-de-sac. What was the original question there? Oh, yeah.
About the Kickstarter. Yeah.
So the Kickstarter. So I go, yeah, I know some stuff about DC, and he's telling his friends about the meeting. It's like, I met this guy and this guy. I don't know. This one guy said he knew something about DC, but it might be bullshit. And then I come out as one of the writers, and he goes, there he is. Right there he is. And his friend goes, I guess he wasn't lying about knowing some people at DC. So anyway, Area 51. Area 51 Studios is so there. Area 51 exists. It is a secret base of sorts, but not what you think. It doesn't have the corpses, crashed spaceships. It is actually a studio lot where alien producers that don't have quite enough money, they come to make their galactic reality programming. Okay. And in fact, the oft-mentioned spaceship that crashed and the corpses were part of a student film that were discovered. And the thing, mistakes were made. Permits were not pulled. They ran away and left all their shit. And it was like, aliens, right? Like that's my explanation for it. So it's kind of like, I guess, you know, kind of a Douglas Adams tone is what I was going for. Meets Men in Black.
Yeah, I can see some of that right here.
Pinch of kind of Monty Python-esque moments.
Yeah, you got some Men in Black covers. And
yeah, that's the other one. That's
2001 Space Odyssey. Yeah.
If you go up a little bit, you can see some of kind of the art. So it's kind of it's wacky. It's about one particular producer named Zephyr Boone, and he's down on his luck, and he's got his he's putting on his grandly titled. He's gone down in life. Before he's done shows on Earth, and the shows are historical events like the Crusades, the Black Plague. These are some of the reality programs that he's beamed out from Earth that he's like kind of made happen on Earth. Okay, so now he's down to a grandly titled but really low budgeted series called The Human Race, and it's about 5 people in a trailer park, like in one trailer, right? And you know, he basically, this is his last shot, whether his to stop his career from being kind of the flaming dumpster fire that it has become. So we pictured as a 4-episode thing. This will be the first episode, and then at the end it'll be all together, kind of as a graphic novel. But it's basically a love letter to all of the stuff that I like. So the planets' names, the aliens' names are flat out like there's General Kubrick, right? Because
yeah,
there's other ones that are far harder to get, you know, like I use a bit, I just take stuff. The engineer, one of his tools in his kit is a sonic screwdriver. I just do all these little references from everything that I've loved, that I read, watched, and listened to over the year, the stuff that inspired me. And it's its own story as it unfolds in this thing. And I think that people that like that stuff, especially if you like the Douglas Adams Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or Restaurant at the End of the Universe type of stuff, Monty Python, you know, I think you'd like it. But
no, it's right up my alley. I love all the Area 51 and alien stuff. I mean, when I was a kid, I mean, even like just when I was when Scott sent me the cover and seeing like the mask and everything like that. I mean, it reminded me of books I used to read by Bruce Cavill called My Teacher's an Alien.
I love
like,
those books.
Yeah, remember those books?
I remember those books.
Kids are spying on and he's taking off the mask and stuff like that. I mean, I've always been So yeah, this is totally right up my alley. And the fact that this sounds like this could be Seth Rogen is somewhere like smoking something and going, I think we could do something with this. I mean, there's a chance that, I mean, come on, there's something.
If I could get it in his hands, that would be neat. You know,
I think you would totally dig this.
I don't have old Seth on speed dial, and
somehow we get this in his hands while he's, you know, partaking. He might be like, I gotta do this. You know, come on.
That would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got the cool thing is, since I mean, it's been such a great process. In these other ones, I've mentioned that there's rooms of people, and you've got to listen to everybody and take their opinions into account. And I'm a lower person on the totem pole, right? If James Tucker wants something to die or something not to die, he gets the call. With this, it's just myself and Josh, and this was a novella that I showed him, right? So he came onto the project. So we're going to be offering the novella as an add-on, right? So I know where some people go, Kickstarter, it's going to be like a 4-part thing. I don't know if they're going to finish or something. Well, it's like, you can read the ending of this. The book, the novella exists. It's novella is a short novel, right? It's like less than 150 pages or so. So Josh actually did like 20 black and white drawings that are different than the comic. They're one pagers for the book, right? So, I mean, the bargain is going to be to get the digital copies of both. But if you want something on your shelf, I'm in talks, since the novella existed separately out there, but it looks like a small print press is going to do it, and it's going to be like a better version. It's not going to be like me doing a self-published thing. It's gonna look better than that, and then there might be like a really cool version at the very end when we're putting out the graphic novel. That's more like, you get some books of verse or poetry and they're really funky, like they could be square or they have like different stuff in it or whatever. Like that's what this woman, Ellie Moss Davis and press want to do when we're done with this. But they're going to put out something that's much better than me doing a KDP version of this, like it'll be printed before that. So if you're a hard copy type of person,
of course, hard copy is the best.
This is all, I mean, are these like stretch goal ideas, or is this all going to be like reward tiers that you're offering? Like and by the way, when does the Kickstarter launch?
Oh yeah, God, I'm terrible at this.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here to just serve it up for you.
We're helping.
It launches June 2nd. Right now, that's the pre-launch. It shows some of it, but the whole thing is going to go online June 2nd to the 30th. No, that's done. The issue 1 is done. Aside from, there's like 3 draw yourself in spots that you can buy. So like your face can be in there, and then you get everything too, so there's a couple of those, but it's done. Actually, I've written the 3rd script out of the 4, and he's inking number 2. So what we plan on doing is issue number 2 will come out, or we'll have the Kickstarter for issue 2. And it's all about shipping costs, basically, shipping and printing costs. We're not looking to make money on this. I just want to get it out there. And at the end of it, have a graphic novel that I can pass around, and it's off of my hard drive and it exists. And after that, if something happens, that's great. But so the second one will come out in October. The 3rd would be February. The fourth floppy will be in June again. So that's the end. And then and then in October or September we would do a graphic novel one with that special edition.
And I think this is important because, like you said, I mean, I've been kickstarting for years, and I've done some Kickstarters that I never ended up actually, like, stuff didn't finish, or I never even got the reward. So I think it's very encouraging for people who like Kickstarters to know the work is done. Like there's a
plan. Issue 1 is done. We're just gonna have to change. We're gonna have to change faces in 2 or 3 panels if people buy that thing. I'm pretty sure I'm selling one. My sister's like, I'm buying that thing. And I'm like, no. That's cheating. I don't want you to. I'll give it a chance. She's like, I'll buy it under a different name. You won't know. And I'm like, well,
all right.
Okay.
That's a good sister right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just thinks it's such a cool thing of like, I mean, actually in that pre-launch, we show you the exact panel. It's like, if you see that in the first page or the second page where he's walking and there's that alien tossing coffee.
Yeah, I remember that panel. Yeah.
So the PA getting coffee tossed on her, we're going to just bring that up, redo that panel so she's a little bit more in it and getting soaked on coffee, and that's going to be somebody's face that wants to,
Okay.
I think we're doing it for $250, but then you get everything. You get digital copies of both things, and you get hard copies of both things. A stretch goal we're having is, if you look at the cover, all right, this is why I think it's such a fun project for us to do. If you look at the cover, I was like it's an alien actor. He's in some sort of human show, but is being beamed to an audience, right? So the alien costume designer is like, what's a shirt that an Earth person would wear in this thing? And if you look at it, he created this thing that says mouth drink.
Mouth drink. Yeah.
And the catch line of mouth drink is it tastes.
Yeah, I know.
I thought that was so hilarious. I'm like, I want an ad for mouth drink as one of the extras in the comic book. And now we've told the other people ideas. It's like, well, by book 4, you need to have a mouth drink shirt. And so he's designing a mouth drink shirt. So
might have to get one of those.
Goal is actually a mouth drink poster. Like if we can get to 5, we'll give everybody a mouth drink poster. I think we're going to do signed copies of the novella for the first 25 people that buy it, because that's going to be a separate shipping. We did one thing that everybody said, don't do this. And I'm like, we're shipping out because we've got to get that printed at a different place than the comic because of price points, of course, you know, and quality. Like
I love the fact that you also have like kind of like the alien kind of like writing within it. Also, it's like Area 51 Studios, but you got like the alien writing just to add a little bit more to it.
Yeah, and there's like 3 or 4 of them, right? Sometimes they're light, sometimes it's like braille, you know, like I told them always, whatever, we'll do the Earth version. And I'm just explaining it as technology. It's like why is the Earth version if they're all aliens? It's like because you're a human. You see that as the main one. An alien wouldn't. They would see the Gal 5 or the Gal 7 version.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I think this is
like I've got logic for you, my friend.
You have to.
You do.
I mean, when you're coming up with something like this, you got to create a Bible. You got to create a world. You got to create a backstory. You got to create everything where people, when they start questioning things, you have an answer right away of like, oh, well, there's a reason why that. Like even like you said, when it came to his shirt, because I'm going mouth drink, it tastes. I'm like, yeah. But then when you explain it, I'm like, okay, that's brilliant. I need one of those shirts now, and I want to wear it. So it's like, yeah, it's really sweet. It's awesome.
So it's obviously some sort of alien show about humans. We don't know what's happening in the show, right? But he's got his head off, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, he's gonna be wearing a shirt. But what would humans wear? Well, sometimes we wear advertising, and it's like, okay, great. Well, one of the big drinks in the galaxy is mouth drink, you know. So I'll just use that, you know.
Oh man, that's good.
I mean, there's all these little touches that just kind of tickle us, and that's what's really fun about this is, you know, if you have an idea like this, if you hope to get into this, I would say just go do it.
Just go do
I
it.
was sitting on my ass for a while. You're waiting for a comic book company. You're like, I did these movies. They should call me for comics. It's like, no, they shouldn't. There's other people. They got other people. They got better people than you.
Well, nowadays, there's just so much that you can do now. There's so much promotion, so much everything. I mean, it's great when I see stuff like this, when I come across a lot of this stuff. I mean, you know, people are doing their own thing, their own things. I mean, it used to be a thing where you had to promote on something where you had to go on a radio show. You had to go. Now everybody's, you know, live streaming, podcasting. They're doing their own thing. It's just it's great to do that and to interact with people who are coming up with their own original stuff. I always love that. That's one of the things when I do my Friday stream, the Vodka stream, I like to bring on creators like who have their own YouTube channel. It's like, hey, come on and talk about, come on and talk about that. You know, I want you to come on that one too, to be like, hey, join the fun, you know, on a Friday night, pour yourself a drink and just freaking have at it, you know, and we could promote all this too. It's great. I love that aspect of where we're at right now. Yeah, there's a lot of things where technology can be scary and stuff like that, and things can be scary, but I mean, again, like, I mean, this is right up my alley. I'm all about the alien stuff and the Area 51 stuff, and this is a really cool idea. And again, I'm definitely gonna get one of those mouth drink shirts.
I want one of those shirts.
Yes,
I love the Kickstarters because, like you said, there's no gatekeeper. There's just you and the consumer. And it's just like, here's a thing I want to put out into the world. Do you want to basically invest in it? And you get the thing that you paid for. And I've kickstarted so many things that there's
you know what, you gotta friend me now that I have a profile since I've created one. So I can see you.
Give me one moment.
Okay. He's gonna do it right now.
We can do this. We can do this in real time, actually. Yeah. So,
but I mean, I didn't think. I guess I kind of like lessen the stuff I've done. A lot of times, I'm like, nobody. You know, it's.
We all do that. We all do that.
Yeah. So they're like, no, you could probably do this, and I'm like, where would I advertise? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you can just call up some of the podcasts that have had you on for some of the DC things and go, hey, talk about this. And I'm like, nobody's going to want to do that. And I was like, damn, I guess people need content, you know, but I'm glad that it is that way. I don't know if it moves the needle. This is my first one. I have no freaking idea. But saying that, if you guys got some buddies for podcasts, I'm going to overload on them on June. Just do everything I can to get that to make it. You know,
we'll help you promote it. We'll help you promote it for sure.
Well, thank you very much. I can. You know what? I'm going to send it to you the couple of days before, just the comic, so you can read it. It won't have the extras. I think the extras are really cool too, because I'm kind of a process. It seems like you guys like to know the story behind the story.
We're fun. Yeah, we love that.
Okay, so we're gonna have like 8 extra pages, and I see. Obviously, I've read a lot of Kickstarters going up to this. I probably read about 100. I'm like, some I like, some of this, and the ones that I really like are either bonus features where they're talking about the characters and their like powers and shit on the pages after.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like, here's some inks from, you know, I think the ones that people that just do inks from the first issue is a missed opportunity. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put in a couple of pages of that are being used in book 2 from the novella. And then, so you'll see that the original dialogue and the original how it is, 2 pages from the novella that will be in comic book number 2. And then we're going to put in 3 or 4 pages of inks. So the preview of issue number 2 is already in issue number 1, but awesome. Unfinished, right? It's like just that. The inks, but you could see the dialogue. And then if you buy issue number 2, you'll get the complete version, and we'll do the same thing again from 3 to 4.
Oh, you tease them and you always leave them wanting more.
Exactly. No, that's a good idea. I like that.
I mean, I thought it was like kind of cool, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I would really appreciate this. It's like, it tells me a couple more pages of what I'm going to be getting, but it's in this mid-range of done. It isn't as good as it's going to look. I really like the style.
Work in progress.
Josh can draw stuff that's much more detailed. If you look at like some of his art, it's like really very, very finely detailed, right? And we're doing that. We're making it look very real. And I'm like, I don't know if the jokes are landing, because I want it to be more. How about we do it more Archer? We had 2 things. It was like taking too much time. He runs a business in Arizona, you know, and has 3 kids. So I'm like, you know what? Why don't we flatten it out a little bit more and Archerize it? And I think that will make it funnier. And we did. And so it went faster. And I love the colors of it. You know, it's definitely not manky or, you know, like something like that where, you know, it's like Bernie Wrightson, where you can see every single thing. I mean, what am I? Yeah, Jim Lee. Right? It's not
every little line, yes.
Right? It's not Jim Lee. It's like, oh my God, he's got gum on the bottom. Batman's got gum on the bottom of his combat boot. Oh,
yeah.
That little detail. You know, like while he's kicking a thing and he's holding off 100 bad guys, right?
Yeah.
In a splash panel. It's like, is that come on? It is.
Yeah. Those guys get detailed. No, this is
So,
cool. But
yeah, I mean, I really like it.
I dropped the link in the chat, so if anybody who's watching can click on it. And
I would very much appreciate it, even if you don't end up grabbing anything. If you signal boost me, that would be awesome. Just the great thing about Kickstarter is, look, you are overpaying for a comic, but you're supporting all stuff that would never get past any of the gatekeepers at the shows. I tried to pitch this thing, and none of my people were interested in getting me out there. Like, we want you to pitch something different, something that might actually get made, Ernie, not this. So,
that doesn't even, God, I hate that.
Well, those people are no longer my representation. I got
course.
people now who more believe in me, and
And you write that story in the bio of the Kickstarter, and I had to laugh. I was like, my former representation. I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. So, your shade game is strong, and it's appreciated.
Well, you know what? Let's see if they were right. if I trip on my schlong and do a face plant here, it's like, oh, no one buys. Yeah, it turns out they were right.
Yeah, right.
I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this is going to work out great. But
seems like it's we'll see. Yeah, we'll promote the shit out of it for sure. And this has been a treat, Ernie. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You are our first official guest on the DC Fan-imated stream. So, usually it's just Scott and I, 40-year-old men,
talk about cartoons.
And
really? I thought you did this every week.
No. I mean, I have the guests on the Vodka streams on Fridays, but it was perfect for this because you are pivotal when it comes to the DCAU movie verse that we all love. So, when he said like, oh, hey, Ernie hit me up, and I was like, all right, let's do it. He even asked, he's like, you want him on the Vodka stream or this? I'm like, no, I think this would be a good for this stream because of all the talking we do about this animated universe that we love so much. So this has been a treat, man.
Well, thank you very much. And yeah, you know what? I think you, maybe other people are gonna want to be speaking to me for issue number 2 because something else is.
There it is.
There it is.
You're welcome back.
Maybe you will hear about something coming out during Comic-Con.
Ooh, okay. So we're going to keep you in mind here. Yeah. Yeah,
actually,
like you're welcome back anytime.
If you dig around on the internet, my name has been bandied about one particular project, but I don't want to get into it because they haven't announced anything really yet. It's just rumors. It's just rumors.
My brain is starting to. And I was like, I just kind of thought of something, but we'll see. But you're welcome back anytime. We definitely want to talk to you again for sure, man. This has been a treat, and like I said, everybody's watching or listening. Post, follow Ernie. Check out the Kickstarter for Area 51 Studios. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty cool project. If you're into the whole alien stuff and kooky, weird things and fresh new content, comic book content, please give that hit the notification thing so you know when was the date again? June 3rd?
June 2nd.
June 2nd.
Because I know that if you like it, if you've got the Kickstarter app, it will pop up a notification like the moment it goes live. So.
Yes, you can hit the remind me if you already bought supported Kickstarters, backed Kickstarters before, and you're on there. If you hit the remind me, you will get a notice. If not, hopefully I will make some sort of throw a rock into the internet with these guys and other podcasters so that you see it again. But thanks a lot, guys. This has been fun. I can't believe I was like, they're talking about maybe an hour and a half or something. Do I have that?
Anytime that I've had a guest on any of my streams, it's always like, hour, something, and it always goes longer because it's, we try to keep it a relaxed environment and everything. we just want to shoot the shit and ask questions and have fun. That's
you've
what
got so many great
thing
stories.
Sounds good because I'd pop a beer during it. Maybe a little mid-June or something.
Yeah.
No,
we'll definitely.
I've been drinking bourbon this entire time.
Exactly. I had wine in this. So.
Oh no, I had water. I was taking it seriously.
Okay, so next time we'll get you on the Vodka stream. It's on Fridays. We'll get you talking. We'll get some more, people, more nerd-like people who, pour a drink, and we can really shoot the shit and talk about a lot of this stuff, man. For sure. You said mid-June? Yeah, I'll hit you up.
Yeah, it goes from whatever, it goes from June 2nd to 30th. Okay. So I think I need to do at least one in those 3 weeks between then.
Those are the hard times for Kickstarters.
Yeah, those are the hard times, right? So I figure, why not do a couple things to at least, to try and shake the tree a little bit more. They say first day, last day, right?
Yes. Yes.
I got to think it's first 48 to 72 hours, right?
Usually they focus on that first 24 hours, but you get a good bump the first 3 days, and then usually it either just plateaus or stays. So anything you can do to keep the numbers rising in the middle, because you also got to be prepared at the end for the people who pledge at the beginning, and then by the time it comes time to pay up, they start drop. You got to be prepared for people to drop at the end. So you want to build up as much cushion as you can. Can you tell I've done this a lot?
I saw someone said something about this, and I was like, I've never dropped out on a thing before, because they don't ask you. They just go, oh, you've been charged, right? If it goes, as far as I know. But I saw a person was like, my Kickstarter went down $1,200, and they were only asking for we're asking for $3,500, right? It's printing and shipping. That's all we want, right? There's no making money, but the community is so giving, right? Yeah. The Kickstarter community is so nice that they're going to help these projects that wouldn't see the light of day normally, get out to that. And once they're in the graphic novel format, then you can get them in there into the pile of projects to be looked at by a Netflix or an Amazon or Sony Cartoons or whatever, right? Warner Brothers, and that's the great thing of it. So they raise you a level. It's out of your hard drive. Now people can see it, I guess I had to do it just for myself for the novella. I knew that's nobody publishes novellas. When I was writing it, it was nobody publishes novellas. It's what do you think you are, Steinbeck? What do you got, Pearl there? You think kids are going to watch your little novella?
Of course not.
I just had to write it. That's the length it came out on. It turns out I wrote another one. It's I like that length. The novella. It's it's a couple afternoons of reading. It's a nice little self-contained story, right? With some loose ends where I can always go back for a sequel.
Sounds perfect.
Perfect.
All right. I'm going to check your stuff out too, and good luck. All right.
Yeah. This has been fun, and we'll get you on the Vodka stream to promote when the Kickstarter starts next month, in a couple of weeks, actually. We'll get you on there. And pour yourself a drink, shoot the shit, and we'll hopefully get some people joining the Kickstarter and everything. And this has been fun. This has been a lot of fun. And this has been great. Follow everybody. Follow Ernie, everybody who's watching and listening. Please do that.
Please do. I mean,
yes.
There's no way. I got to get over 1,000, man. Sometimes I got nearly there, and then all of a sudden there's Elon does a cleaning, and it's I got 100 fake people. It's I can't.
Dude, I've been stuck where I'm at for a bit too, or I'm I don't even get what's happening.
I've bled three. I've bled 300. So I get the feeling, but I've been there since I think about 2020. So you didn't know, Ernie, but I've been watching.
Yeah.
Well, I get whatever that. Did you call it the vodka stream?
Yes, that's what I call it on Friday. because I'm always sipping vodka on Friday. So.
We're gonna have to. It's gonna be like Jerry's Kids. Please help him Kickstarter. You too could help him with the purchase of a digital copy for $5. You can help him.
You can help him
get a little bit closer to his goal.
We'll even show a stream as the voiceover is happening. Why not? But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you, Ernie. Scott, do you have anything to promote before we head on out of here? Besides all the DVDs you have, Blu-rays.
I'm just gonna promote Ernie. Like there's Ernie, guys. Go out.
Did we not get any? Did we not get to anything?
The only thing we didn't get to was Green Lantern. Beware my power. So
next time.
Yeah. That was fun. John Semper, my boss at Spider-Man, and I co-wrote that.
There you go.
So there's another circle of life thing. He gave me my first paying job in this Hollywood world was on the animated thing. Just lucked into it, and then all the way around when I was involved in these things, Jim was like, "Hey, what do you think about co-writing it with John?" And I'm like, 100% yes, let's do that. And so, yeah, he puts it out as one of his best credits. He's got a lot of great stuff, but I think that being a movie and we had a Comic-Con premiere and stuff with it, it was like something different,
We'll go into that in more detail. But for me, Dave,
that's another one that ruined childhoods. Sorry.
That's bullshit. And I'm gonna put that out there.
I enjoyed that.
But I am seeing Mission Impossible at 2:00 at that early fan screening, the one that actually starts like at 2. So as always, guys, check out my letterbox because I've been there since 1996. I'm gonna be there at the end. So stay tuned for my review of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Otherwise, next week, Superman the Animated Series, we're watching a fish story. We're finally getting Aquaman introduced into the DC Animated Universe. So make sure you guys watch a fish story, and we will see you next Wednesday.
There you go. Hit that like, thumbs up, guys. Appreciate you, and look forward to my first reaction to Mission Impossible Final Reckoning tomorrow after I see it with Pop's Film Junkie. We're going to go see it tomorrow and then, of course, have some dinner. So I'll be posting that tomorrow night. And, of course, we have the vodka stream on Friday, which we'll be talking about all kinds of madness that happened throughout the week and everything. And thank you, Ernie. Ernie, go ahead and promote your Twitter and whatever social media you have.
I got, everything's under Ernie Altbacker, at Ernie Altbacker on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I think that's it. And Kickstarter.
And Kickstarter, yes.
That's the most important one.
That is the important one.
Support other projects, too. There are a lot of great projects out there, but sign up for Kickstarter. I'm sure there's going to be something that you like there. Doesn't have to be a comic. There's kind of inventions. There's books. I mean, Brandon Sanderson does books there too.
Yeah, he does.
They're fantastic. It's a great thing. I hope more people support it. So yeah. And that's it for now, I guess.
That's it for now. All right. Well, we appreciate you, Ernie, and thank you guys who are watching, and thank you who's listening post. And we will talk to you guys later.
See you later. Bye.